Hey, if you've made it this far, you either want to learn how to use DitherNote or you have this video on in the background. In which case, oi, wake up, pay attention. I'm going to try and keep this quick and concise since it's not really hard to use at all. And before I start, make sure you do everything correctly. If you have any issues, you can comment and I'll try and answer. But in short, if you follow this video word for word, you should be good. Also, make sure you have downloaded Blender 5.0 or later because it takes advantage of the new bundle nodes. Knowledge of Blender is recommended, but for the shader bit at least, I'm going to act like you do not know what the hell this program is. This first section covers the shader version and the preset scene I created, which lets you take an image or video you already have and apply the filter to it. You will obviously need an image or video to actually input into the shader, but if you just want to learn how to use it, I have included a sample image and a sample video in the input folder, the latter of which I will be using for this tutorial. This is the zip you'll get from the itch.io page or the Gumroad, both linked in the description. Either one you can get, they're the same. You can click on it and extract it or just use 7-zip, which I will use because 7-zip, my beloved. These are the files that DitherNote comes with. They say tutorial on them because I have to record them for the tutorial, but don't mind that. Now, once you've unzipped the folder, you'll want to open dithernote_shader.blend. Normally, the sample video should already be set up here, but for the purpose of the tutorial, I've swapped it out with the sample image and a bunch of completely different settings that we're going to change. If your UI doesn't look like this, when you open the file, make sure to press the cog here and tick load UI, and then you'll have it look like this. Unless you don't want it to look like this, but then why would you be watching the tutorial? You already know what you're doing. First, hover your mouse over the viewport. Hold Z to bring up this pie menu, and then make sure it's selected to material preview so it looks like this, so you can actually see the colors. Next, select the plane. Then as it says here, double-click the group to go inside of it. Due to limitations of the shader editor, you can't just set the variables like outside it here. You actually have to go in it because of just how it works and UVs and stuff. Now, go to the first section, which is for selecting your media. Go to this node, which is the image node, and then click on the open image button. Then you can select your video, even though it's not an image, don't worry about that. And then you'll get this. Now you'll see these are the default settings, which won't actually do anything because the frames is set to 1, which means that the video will only be on the first frame and it won't actually go through the rest. So if you click on the node, press N to bring up the N panel, then go to the node section and then the properties of the node section. You'll see the frames section has a refresh button here. You can click that and it'll bring up the maximum frames of the video so you don't have to look it up yourself. Also, while we're here, make sure auto refresh is selected, but apart from that, we're good. You can press N to close the N panel. Next, we'll go to step 2, which is selecting your coordinates. This shouldn't really matter. By default, it's set to window, and you should probably keep it selected to window. Unless you need to use it in like 3D space or something, then you use UV. Because in UV, you can like look around and you can rotate and stuff. As for window, it'll always look at the camera, so yeah. Next, we go down to the settings. These are all the regular settings. This is mostly all you'll need to change apart from the color stuff. Now, I'm just going to hide the alpha ones just so we can focus on the resolution settings. The first one is automatic resolution, which when clicked will set the resolution of the final output to the resolution set in the format settings in the output properties. Then you got the X and Y, which is manually setting the resolution, which only happens when you have automatic resolution turned off. You probably won't need to change these at all unless, again, you have it like set to UV and then you're working in 3D, so you can set them manually. But here we don't actually need to, so we can go and set all this back. And finally, we have the downscale factor, which will half the resolution by whatever it's set to. So if we set it to 2 here, then it will half the resolution of 1280 by 960, which will be 640 by 480. Then it will half it a second time, which will be 320 by 240, which, if we have a looky here, that's the flip note resolution. What the hell? It's like it's a coincidence or something. No, that couldn't be true. Now that we're done with the resolution settings, we actually have the alpha settings. Now, I will preface with this. If you don't have alpha in your image whatsoever, or your video, whatever, do not use alpha. Do not click enable alpha. Do not change any of the values. It will do no good. It will do only bad. But if you do have alpha, which honestly you should try to avoid, then this is for you. Alright, sorry I cut. I just brought up an image that actually has alpha so I could show you what these settings do. So first, if you straight up just like don't care and just want to keep the background like a single color, then all you need to change is this background value here, which will change it. But if you want to keep the alpha, then click enable alpha here. Then also, just so you can actually see the alpha, you want to make sure that you hold Z and then you go to rendered preview. And then, yeah, you can obviously tell that it is see-through. Next, let's skip this real quick and go to clipping threshold. So alpha is a black and white texture, right? And some of it's gray. And we can't have it actually like blend between them. So we actually have to clip it by a certain value, as you can see here on screen. So that's what the clipping threshold is for. You can change that and it will change how much or how little alpha is actually like being used. Then you can play around with the background value, which kind of gives like a little like a backlight effect. So you can just like play with the two and like see what you like. It's dark, or it's really thin, or it's bright and not thin. So that's what that does. If you want to try this, which isn't a very good setting, but you can use dithering, which does nothing here. Let me find another image. Okay, so here, I set it back to default settings, and you'll see that this image, which I'll pop the actual version on screen, has alpha on the sides. It's like a glow. So here, we can actually test that glow and actually have it show up in the image. So first, I'm going to set the alpha value on this image node to pre-multiplied, because why not? It does things and it looks cool. Then we will change some of these settings. So by default, the clipping threshold is 0.5. So if we change that, wow, it expands and contracts. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Crazy. And then if we change the background value, you see, oh, white to black. Whoa, crazy. So if you just play around with these two and just like figure out, ooh, what looks best? Like, maybe that. Look at that. That looks kind of cool. Then if you just want to forego that, you can try use dithering, which uses the same algorithm that the actual image uses to do the dithering. I will warn you, it doesn't look very good a lot of the time. Much like this, like that doesn't look very good, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not really liking this. It doesn't look very good. So I'll just turn it off, and then yeah, that's how the alpha works. So we're back here. That was all the main settings. So we can just go down to the next bit, and whoa, that is a color palette, all right. This section is all about the color. Here you can choose between literally 40 pre-made color palettes that I inputted all myself, or you can make your own if you want something that's not here. For making your own, this top node has a tones value that lets you pick how many total colors you want between 2 and 4. I'd make this unlimited, but the shader editor doesn't let you expand things infinitely, so then you can choose your individual colors. So let's say we want a light blue, and then we gotta like a green, then maybe a dark orange, and then a dark blue. Ooh, look at that. Look how nice that looks. Oh boy. You can go down to the preset color palettes and choose the one you want the most. So if I wanted one that looked like Game Boy, I select it there. Then I have the entire selection of Super Game Boy palettes, which Wild Leo Night, thank you for compiling them. I'll show it on screen right now. Like, whoa, my gosh, this was a pain. This was a pain to input because there's so many, but you know, whatever. Then to choose what one you actually want to use, you just drag this bundle node into this one here that says plug the bundle you want to use in here. So if I want to use the Game Boy one, I plug this in here, and now it looks ugly as sin. If I want to use, let's go with something random. Let's go with 2C. If I want to use 2C, which I don't even know how it looks right now, but if I want to use it, I just drag the bundle into here and oh my god, I can't even see it. But we don't want that. Let's go back to this custom one. That's not the last step, that is the second last step. So to find the last step, we zoom out and we go up here and whoa, here it is. The fifth and final section is just about color correcting so we can see all the good details in the final output.
Hey, 2 AM editing Nathan here, because recording Nathan is just saying stuff. What he is trying to say is that DitherNote works in absolutes. Most videos will not be perfectly lit with white whites and black blacks. So we need to do some basic curve editing to end up with something that looks good with DitherNote. It's been almost 2 weeks since I recorded this because I'm slow as hell. Oh, he's done. Okay, back to the video.
So to fix this, we run the image, the initial image, through an RGB curves node with these settings because I like these settings. I think these look good. And then we get this, which again, same colors, but just color corrected so the filter can use them better. Again, these are the default settings that I use, but if your video is a lot darker or brighter, then you will almost definitely need to change this to reflect that, as shown here from the Cleveland Freddy Fazbear video.
Jump scare.
Additionally, you can use the color ramp if you really want, but it doesn't really give as good of a result. Even the amount that I like change it, it's like the curves do it better, so just use the curves. Whichever one you do want to use though, again, just drag the output into this little nub here. Alright, so that's actually everything to do with the shader itself. It all just goes in here, just does funny little things, and then it goes into the output, which goes into these shaders, which goes into the material output, and then here you go. This is the final video. But obviously, we haven't actually set up the video's like settings to actually play yet. So to fix this, we go back into the group, we go back to the image that we input, then you'll look at these settings here, frames and start frame, and you'll want to copy these into the frame range area over here. Then you'll see the amount of frames is 150, so the end will set to 150, and that's the video. So now that we have these set, if we play it, hey, I'm walking here, I'm a freaking flip, no. Yeah, that's the video, but yeah, it works, the video runs now. You also do need to note the frame rate, which we can't actually find anywhere here. But if we go back to select the video, then if we hover over the video, you'll see a pop-up here with all the stats. Some video formats won't have this, but this one does because it's MP4. And it says 29.97 frames per second, which is basically for 30. So we just set the frame rate to 30. Also, to cover our bases, down here in the output section here, since this is a video, we'll have this set to video. And then in the encoding dropdown, you probably want to have these settings if you just want to pause and copy them down. If they're not, or they should already be like this in the file that you're given. If you want to like upload this to Discord or something, but the video is too long, so it goes over 10 megabytes, you can go to output quality and set that to very low or lowest. Low quality doesn't look too bad, so that's why I have that set by default. But yeah, if you need that extra space, just set it to a lower preset. Now for the totally final step. Asterisk. Make sure you're in the material preview or the rendered preview. Again, hold Z. You got rendered material preview. If you need alpha, you want to go in rendered, but I'm just going to stick in material. It doesn't really matter. You can just go to rendered just to cover your bases, but I'm going to stick in material. Then, if your screen doesn't look like this, press numpad 0. If you don't have a numpad, then press the camera button here, toggle camera view. So you show up in the view with the image correctly, like in the correct aspect ratio and everything. For rendering an image, go up to view and then render viewport preview. And here's your image. It's done. You got it. It's right here. Whoa, crazy. When rendering a single image, Blender doesn't actually save it automatically. So you got to go up to the image drop down here and then press save as. Then find when you want to save your image and then name it. So we're going to go cool, awesome test image for tutorial. How long can I make this name? Oh, God, it's still going. When will it stop? Oh, the horror. Then you can just save it, but you probably want to check your settings here. I like saving as a PNG with 100% compression because, in short, PNGs use the deflate algorithm, which takes into account that there are only 4 colors in this image. So even though the final image is 1280 by 960, it's still, if we save as image and then we find it here, 18 kilobytes. Whoa, that is tiny. If we click on it, you'll see that it's got no like actual compression because PNGs are lossless, which normally means they're a little big, but in this case, it's tiny. Here's some comparisons for fun of different image formats. But yeah, PNG is mostly just fine, so just do it as PNG. For a video, this is even easier. Do the same thing that you did for the image, so make sure it's in the correct viewport and stuff. Go to view and then press render play blast. And you'll see how fast it's rendering. Whoa, that's speedy. And then it's done now. So if we go out and we find the video in the output folder, it won't have a proper name. It'll just be the number of frames. So I'll just name it he, right? And you watch it. Look at that. That's all you need to do. Now, that would be satisfactory if my audience was deaf people, because obviously you can't hear any sound. If we pull up the original video right now, bam, you see the sound.
I'm a freaking flip node.
So how do we get that in? It's really simple. In the scene, I already have a speaker set up. So if you click on the speaker here, then go down to the speaker settings or data, it says there. And then if you click on open and then find the video again, then if you press play.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm a freaking flip node.
Whoa, it's playing the sound. So then, because we have the audio settings set up in the encoding, if you press view and then render play blast, you won't hear anything here. But once it's done rendering and we go to open it.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm a freaking flip node.
Whoa, crazy. I'm going to call this he audio do. But say we actually do want to evoke the vibes, you know, of Flipnote or of like a Game Boy or of an old console, just in general. These settings aren't going to cover it because, again, play the video again and you'll hear it sounds normal. I want to bit crush it. Initially, I tried to change the audio settings here, but they just make it sound muddy. Like, it's really annoying. I don't know why. So to do it, this is the only point where we actually have to go to a separate website. So if you go down to the description of the video, you'll find this VoiceMaker website link. And this is just a site that lets you bit crush your sound. So if you go to load a clip, find your sample video, click on it.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm a freaking flip node.
There you go. So you can press download and it will download the sound, but I've already done this before we started. So if we go back to Blender, then if we go back to the speaker node and then back to this bit, we can go to the files and then we can click on sample_video.wave and then we press play.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm a freaking flip node.
That's it. There you go. Audio done. So if we just go to render play blast again, then if we go to the output folder, we'll name this You Are So Epic. Then we open it.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm a freaking flip node.
And that's it. That's all. That's all. That's the shader version. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And now we're going to move on to the compositor version. And we are back with the compositor version now. Just a note, it is probably easier to run an image or video through the compositor version rather than the shader version. Like literally right before I recorded this, I made a test with Blender's masking tools on the sample video, if we just pop it up here. So you might be wondering, oh Nathan, why did you release the shader version then? And my answer to that is not only does it do things that Compositor can't, like be in 3D space, but it also runs in real time, unlike the Compositor, which I will bring up a video here. It's like really laggy, so yeah. Now, to begin, I should probably have mentioned it earlier, but both versions are a lot easier to use if you have DitherNote set up as an asset library, because I've set it all up so that you can do that. So before we do anything, just go to a new scene, then go up to Edit, go to Preferences, then go to File Paths. In the File Paths menu, you'll see an Asset Libraries section. So before I make a new one, I'll just say that you probably want to extract the folder, like the zip again, and actually put it in a safe space on your computer so it doesn't ever move, like on one of your like hard drives or something. Just like put it there so it doesn't move, and then here we'll press the plus, and then we'll find where it's saved. Then we'll add asset library. By default, it's probably going to be called DitherNote. You can keep it like that because that's what it is. Now, once you've done this, maybe click on this and press Save Preferences, and then we'll exit out of here. And now we don't really need this new scene, so I'm just going to go to the tutorial scene, and we cut in 3, 2, and here we have the scene I have set up for the tutorial, which is pretty similar to the one that you actually get in the zip folder. For this version, I'm going to assume that you already know how to use Blender, because for the Compositor, you have to actually have made a scene to composite. So first, if we enlarge the viewport with Control Space, we'll see what we have. Oh, no, actually, I'm going to go to this one, and you will see all we have is funny Blender monkey on a funny plane. And then when we view the camera view and view the rendered view, it's just like a horizon. It's just using the default sky texture. It's not even like an HDRI or anything. Which, bro, can I just say the sky texture in Blender 5.0 looks awesome. It's so cool. Now back here, the first thing we should do, because it's a compositing filter, is render the scene. So we're going to click render image, or just press F12, and it should render. The settings in this scene are actually set up so that it is really high quality, but it only renders for 5 seconds. If it looks too noisy because your PC isn't as powerful as mine, just go down here to the render settings, and then set your time limit to however long you want it to render. You can set it to like 2 minutes and then just have it look really, really nice when it's done. Like, for example, I'm gonna cut and I will come back when this is done. And here we are. It doesn't look too much different because the denoising algorithms are just so good. So we'll just close out of this, and then we'll go to the compositing menu. Before we do anything, just go to this options setting in the N panel. See the N panel? Press N panel comes up. That's why it's called the N panel. And then set your device to GPU to make sure the compositing is being done on your graphics card. But if for some reason it bugs out or looks wrong, go back and set it to CPU. But I've never had anything on the GPU go wrong, so I don't know why you'd ever need to, but yeah. If something goes wrong, then there you go. Now, you'll see that the image looks normal, and that's because we haven't added the filter in yet. Duh. You'll actually notice that the Compositor, which I completely forgot was the case before I made this video, has a section for the asset library. So yeah, that's really cool. And this is as simple as dragging and dropping in the node and placing it in between the image and the output. And nothing has changed. Why has nothing changed? Oh, okay, I found the issue. Sorry for this. You just have to go in and render the image again. Again, it's 5 seconds, like, it's fine. And once you render it, oh, look at that. It's already done. It's already applied. Because of how the compositor works versus the shader, it just works. It's just one node. But I'll still just quickly go through the settings again. So we don't actually have resolution settings anymore, just the downscaling, because we don't need resolution settings because it's already rendered. So it's just going to use the render resolution. For alpha, it's the exact same alpha settings as the shader. I'm just going to pop that clip back in.
Now, I'll preface with this. If you don't have alpha in your image whatsoever, or your video, whatever, do not use alpha. Do not click enable alpha. Do not change any of the values. It will do no good. It will do only bad. But if you do have alpha, which honestly you should try to avoid, then this is for you. Alright, sorry I cut. I just brought up an image that actually has alpha, so I can show you what these settings do. So first, if you straight up just like don't care and just want to keep the background like a single color, then all you need to change is this background value here, which will change it. But if you want to keep the alpha, then click enable alpha here. Then also, just so you can actually see the alpha, you want to make sure that you hold Z, and then you go to rendered preview. And then, yeah, you can obviously tell that it is see-through. Next, let's skip this real quick and go to clipping threshold. So alpha is a black and white texture, right? And some of it's gray. And we can't have it actually like blend between them. So we actually have to clip it by a certain value, as you can see here on screen. So that's what the clipping threshold is for. You can change that and it will change how much or how little alpha is actually like being used. Then you can play around with the background value, which kind of gives like a little like a backlight effect. So you can just like play with the two and like see what you like. It's dark, or it's really thin, or it's bright and nothing. Yeah, so that's what that does. If you want to try this, which isn't a very good setting, but you can use dithering, which there's nothing here. Let me find another image. Okay, so here I set it back to default settings, and you'll see that this image, which I'll pop the actual version on screen, has alpha on the sides. It's like a glow. So here we can actually test that glow and actually have it show up in the image. So first I'm going to set the alpha value on this image node to pre-multiplied, because why not? It does things and it looks cool. Then we will change some of these settings. So by default the clipping threshold is 0.5. If we change that, well, it expands and contracts. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Crazy. And then if we change the background value, you see, white to black. Whoa, crazy. So if you just play around with these two and just like figure out, what looks best? Like, maybe that. Look at that. That looks kind of cool. Then if you just want to forego that, you can try use dithering, which uses the same algorithm that the actual image uses to do the dithering. I will warn you, it doesn't look very good a lot of the time. Much like this. Like that doesn't look very good, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not really liking this. It doesn't look very good. So I'll just turn it off, and then yeah, that's how the alpha works.
You had to sit through that again. Imagine. Then we have the palette section, which is just the same thing as before. We can set the palette to whatever we want. This can be dark pink. This one can be like green. Yeah, look at that. Whoa, that looks cool. But what we're actually going to do is also down here in the asset library, we have the palettes from before. To actually use them, all you need to do is drag in the outputs of the palettes into the inputs of the shader, the filter, whatever. And then, yeah, you can just set what palette you want. And there you go. Note, I forgot to mention when I mentioned the downscaling, but for some reason in the compositor, if you set it up really, really high, it lags out Blender. I don't know, it's something to do with the pixelate node in compositor, but yeah, just I have it maxed to 9, so you can't go over 9 because of this. So I'm just gonna set it back to 2. So before in the shader version, I'll just chuck in a screenshot. You know that one uses only one node, but this one uses a whole ton of them. And that's because the shader menu supports bundles in Blender 5.0, but the compositor does not, which would be fine if bundles didn't completely change the way I did the palettes. Here's an example of one of the palette blocks in the shader, and now I'm going to show you what the Super Game Boy palettes look like in the compositor.
That's quite big. Impressive.
This sucks. Okay, now that I've scarred you for life, we are actually going to make this look like how it does in the official DitherNote key art, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to actually get rid of the general color palettes, bring up the Super Game Boy ones, and we're going to select, I forgot which one we have to select, give me 2 seconds.
Eminem, please play Fortnite with me.
Alright, I'm back. It was 4B, so we'll just select 4B, and then we'll put tones into tones, and white color into white color, and then gray color into gray color, and then dark gray color into dark gray color, and then black color into black color. Don't mind that it's spelt in the European way, because I am Australian, if you couldn't tell by my voice, mate. But that's British, what the fuck? And then here's what your image looks like. But obviously, it doesn't look the same as the key art. And the reason for that is the thing I explained back in the shader section, which I'm gonna pop in now again.
Output. Hey, 2 a.m. editing Nathan here, because recording Nathan is just saying stuff. What he is trying to say is that DitherNote works in absolutes. Most videos will not be perfectly lit with white whites and black blacks. So we need to do some basic curve editing to end up with something that looks good with DitherNote.
Welcome back from that cut that I didn't have to explain again, because I already explained it once and I'm the editor and I can do whatever I want. So to fix this, we can press Shift A to bring up the add, and then press search, and then search up curves. Click on RGB curves and then chuck it here. And we'll move it up a little bit. And the main difference of these to the shader version is that you can actually set the black level and white level as well. So if we just change, we don't actually want to change this value. We want to change the white level. So if you bring the white level down, you'll see, oh, look at that. It's looking cooler. And then we can just screw with the curves to about this, I think. I don't know. You can just screw with them. This is about how you want to make your curves, but it really just depends on the image you're doing. And that's how you do it. That's how you make it look nice. That's how you do the Compositor version. So then, as I explained before, to save the image, you just click image and then save as, and then cue what I said earlier. So we're gonna call this key art copy for the tutorial, because I don't care for my own art. Lol. I guess I don't know what I am writing right now. There we go. And then I'll just have an image, PNG, RGB 8, 100% compression, save as image, and there we go. Bam, on screen right now. And then again, if you want to do an animation, you're going to be in pain because you're going to have to render an actual animation. But you'd probably just set the render engine here to Eevee, so it will render faster. For example, if we just press render image, it doesn't look as good at all because the image ends up looking like this, which is kind of shit. Quick, undo, go back to cycles, my beloved. Render again. But yeah, you just press render animation, and then whatever settings you have set in the output here, which these are the same, very low quality, it should be low quality. These are the same settings that we had set in the shader version. So yeah, you should know how to render because I'm assuming you know how to blender. Hey, call me the onceler because I got rhymes. And you thought that was all? Ding, ding, ding. Bonus tip. If we go back to the layout from before and we go to rendered view, you'll see, oh no, it's still the original like rendered view. I might want it to use DitherNote so I can preview it. So if you press the drop down here in shading and then press camera or always, depending on how you like to work, bam, you got the filter on top. And that is it. That's the whole thing. That's how you use DitherNote. My cool, awesome add-on for Blender that you can get right now at the link or links in the description. How awesome is that? And that's it. I've been recording this tutorial for 2 hours now, and I don't actually know if it's quick and concise like I said at the beginning, so if it wasn't, my bad. Thanks for watching. If you have fun with DitherNote, please, 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 at me on Twitter or Blue Sky, or comment on the video. Show me what you do with it. I would really, really like to see what people do with it, if people even use it, and if this video gets like 50 views. Like, genuinely, it was really fun to make, and it was so fun to make that for the rest of this video, I'm going to explain how it works and go into the background of it. So if you don't care, you can go now and have fun with it. But if you do care, then stick around. All right, I'm back and I'm going to now explain how it works. It's really simple actually. I'm in the Compositor version of the shader version because the actual node is a lot simpler. And oh, that is my cat walking in. Hello, honey. What are you doing? All right, she's gone. So we start at the pixelate section, which I have not actually... Oh, yes, I have. The viewer node's just over it. It just runs through the pixelate node, which obviously makes it go from nice and clean and high quality to pixelated. For some reason, the pixelate node is like really laggy, and I don't know why. This alpha over right before it is actually just doing the background. So if there's alpha in the image, for example, I just added transparency, and changing the background value just does an alpha over here. So if I just change it, it's just a black and white like background. All right, after that, it gets run through this quantization node that I made, which is really simple. Actually, before it looked like this, put an image up on screen of what it looks like before. I was using repeat nodes and everything. I don't know why. I realized like 2 or 3 weeks in that I was overcomplicating it like crazy. It was really, really funny when I figured out I got it all wrong. So all it's doing is it's splitting the image into different sections. Normally when it runs through the filter, it doesn't look like this because pixels can be like whiter than white. It can like the numbers can go higher than 1. The only thing you'd be able to see is the black, because then it would just keep going up and up and up, and it would only display as white. But here I just have a preview like setting. If I go through the actual one, you see it's just black and white here, but the other values are in there. It's just you can't see them. If you look at the numbers on the bottom left of the screen, as I move my mouse around, you see they're all different. Then it just runs through the big node that deals with all the actual dithering. But before that, we need the actual dither patterns, which is where this node that I made comes in. It is just taking this type of UV image coordinates, which just assigns each pixel as its own value. Like the pixel at 1, 1 is white, and then every pixel after is just like going up and up and up and up and up, so it can generate the dithers from the image. Originally, I did the dithers myself, but then I found a way better way to do them from Kenny Pang's blog post on Medium. Links in the description. I'll actually put it up on screen right now for his own dither filter. For his own like thing. It was like a 3D one. So I just improved the few that I already did with like notes from his, and then I just took one of them from his. All credit to him. Thank God, because I would not have like known how to do it correctly. So then after all of that, everything runs into the big dither. This is the brains behind the whole system. Since this is using 4 colors, I'll show the 4 color one. Because Blender, you can't really expand something infinitely, I can't really do this with one piece of math and then just expand it. I had to actually copy each version. So we'll go to this quad tone, which is the 4 colors, which which is what I'm using for this image specifically. So what it does is it takes the values from the quantized version. If I go back to this, see, it takes these values here and it just compares them a whole lot. And so you'll see if I make this section bigger and I just view each thing, it just keeps adding more and more dithers on top of like a single image. I'll just speed this up. And in the end, it causes it to start at the bottom color. And actually, real quick before I show that, this is every like dither This is one of the dithers. Close your eyes if this hurts, because fuck, it hurts mine. Yeah, these are the different kinds of dithers. And what I do is I just run them through mixed colors and I just mix the color. Yeah, obviously, simple as that. And these are all the different colors of dithers, and I just keep adding them on top of the initial image. There's probably a better way to do this, but it works. I don't know. I don't think it's too bad performance-wise. Yeah, so you'll see that that's the darkest color. That's the black color and the first dither, and then adds the next one on top, and adds the next one on top, and you just keep going, and it just keeps adding more and more and more until you get to the end where it has added all of the dithers together. And that's the final image. The rest of these sets of nodes are the same, just smaller, because you see this is black to dark gray, and then that's dark gray to light gray, and then that's light gray to white. So it's the same here. It's just black to gray, and then gray to white, and then just black to white. Like, yeah. Up here, we have the alpha version, which I'll get into in a second, but it's essentially the same thing. So we have the alpha, which initially I just had clamping the alphas. So I need another image. Give me a sec. So here we have the alpha from the image when I remove the background, which it's sharp, which won't make it very easy to explain. But initially I just had it set up so it would do a clipping on the alpha. And then whenever I would change the clipping threshold, it changes how much is being clipped, obviously, because that's how clipping works. You see it here without me even going in. Then I realized, wait, this is DitherNote. I have this whole thing set up. Why don't I make a dithering version? Which was pretty easy, and it's, I believe, the smallest part of all of this. Yeah, it's the smallest one, which it's just doing the dithering stuff, but for the alpha, and I don't have to actually mix any colors together. It's just the numbers. And the quantization node is so powerful because I could just do it with the alpha, which is what's happening here. It's the exact same node that I used earlier here, but it's being done for the alpha. If I view that normalized version, yeah, you see, it's just quantized. If I view the alpha, see, it's got all this blending, and then after being quantized, not posturized, quantized, they're different, then you have 7 colors. Then it does the same thing as the colors, so it will go through and compare every value of alpha, and then it will just add each dithering pattern on top, which doesn't really look very good a lot of the time. Like here, it's like, it doesn't look too bad here, but it doesn't look very different from the clipping. See, so you either go with those smooth clipped lines, or you go with the dither, which, yeah, honestly, it just depends on what you prefer. I think the clipping normally looks better. Dithering is fine, but it was like, why not add it? It took like no time because it was literally just the same thing, but black and white. And then right at the end here, we just have the mixing of stuff. You have this alpha here, which always is calculated. And then you have this alpha here, which is also always calculated. And then it just mixes them by the Boolean of the use dithering. And then the enable alpha just straight up does the whole, are we even using the alpha? So it's like, if you have it turned off, all this is still calculating, but it's like, no, you're not allowed through. Which, even though I don't think that's actually how it works, I'm pretty sure Blender has like safeguards so that if a certain section is not being used, it doesn't run, which is really cool of them. I love Blender. But yeah, that's essentially just how this whole thing's working. If I go to the other version, if I just quickly go over to the shading version, all right, we're back here in the shader version. it's essentially the same stuff. If I just go down the list again, if I check my pointers, starts with the pixelate, which is here, which is just, which is different because it's the, oh my god, it's the UV pixelate method where it's essentially quantization, but on the UVs. So it just makes them blocky, which is cool, but also doesn't look very good sometimes. And the pixelate node's kind of better because it does actual blending, I think. So we go from the pixelate UV coordinates all the way around to the image. I just accidentally zoomed in there. Then you take the color and the alpha and go all the way back around to the big nodes. Here we have, oh, doesn't this look familiar? You'll notice that we didn't quantize the image first, but that's also because it's in here. I don't know why I put them in here. Shader nodes are annoying. Compositor nodes are annoying. They're not the same thing. Ah, help me. But you'll see it is the same like structure as the compositor version. The alpha's the same as well. It does the dithering in this node. I should have moved it around so it's more like the compositor version, but then it would be even more messy in here. So I just was like, nah, I'll just leave it in there because all you need to worry about is this stuff. You also have the alpha threshold stuff. I don't know why I didn't make it a node in the compositor version. Maybe it'll be a node by the time you use DitherNote. Like, I don't know, maybe, possibly, maybe I write that down. Oh yeah, there was a weird thing with the alpha where it was being dumb, and it was, for some reason, it kept going over 1. It kept going over the max, but even when I'd map the range to 0 to 1, it just kept bugging out. And I don't know why. So I did something here that fixed it. And yeah, it's the same clipping stuff as before. You have the same dithering alpha as before in the compositor, and then it mixes them together like again before in the compositor version. And then it outputs as the color and the alpha, which here there's no alpha, so it's not outputting alpha. Then I just have a basic like thing here where it's making the alpha transparent and then the color not. And yeah, that's it. It's almost identical to the compositor except for a little few different changes. And yeah. Oh, I never mentioned the palettes. So wait, let me go show you what the palettes look like in here. So in here we have this, for example, we just have a menu switch, which I never knew this existed until I started working on this. This is awesome. I love this. I love this menu switch thing. Too bad it's the only sort of switch you can get in the shader nodes. I learned right at the very end that there's versions in geo nodes that just let you keep adding stuff infinitely. Blender, if you're listening, please add that to shader nodes and or compositor nodes. And while on that topic, can you make them more like compatible with each other? Because they have weird things that the other doesn't. And it hurts my brain. The compositor doesn't have bundles, and you'll see why that's a problem in a sec. Yeah, I just made this custom. Oh no, this isn't a custom node. This is just a bundle node. If I make a bundle, dude. Bundles are awesome. Bundles are awesome. You can just combine whatever into a bundle. You can just bam, put a value in there. You can color. Nope, I spelt color my way. Color, you can just like put color in there, like, and then you just separate bundle and you just do that, and whoa, it pops up here. And what an even cooler thing about it is that you can plug them all into the menu switch. That's foreshadowing for you. And each one is just the colors and then the tones of the thing. If you want to make a preset, honestly, if you want to make a preset, you could just go in here, copy one of these, and then add it as a preset. I'm not going to do that. Or you could just like duplicate the custom palette. But yeah, this is how they look like inside. It's kind of scary, but it makes sense. The The Super Game Boy one is the same. It's just lots of wires everywhere. Oh, yes. Wild Leo Knight. He worked on Windswept a little bit, which that game is awesome. So that's pretty cool. He compiled, put it on screen right now, he compiled all the Super Game Boy palettes on his itch.io. Thank God, because this would have sucked otherwise. This would have sucked. It already did suck. That's 32 palettes times 4. So that's 128 colors right here that I had to input manually, so it did suck, but like it would have sucked even more without that. So thank you, Wild Leonite. Now, if we go to the Compositor version, let me tell you about the Compositor version. So I already explained this in the tutorial earlier, but so the Compositor doesn't have bundles. It's still got menu switch. If I get a menu switch, it's still got a menu switch, but you'll see here, there's no way to have multiple inputs into the menu switch with a bundle, except for menu, but I don't even know why this is an option, because if you put in one menu, put in another menu, the output has to be the same menu. So I don't know why this is here. What I'm saying is there's no way to have multiple things in each input. So how did I do it? Like this. It's just a giant manual switch. Every one of these has their own number, and they're all combined and mixed all together. Oh, this sucked. I probably could have made it like, I probably could have halved it because I just have the colors here, but it makes it nicer to look at. So yeah, if I wanted to make more presets, which I might have done again by the time you see this, I duplicate. Wait, I'm forgetting how my own add-on works. So if I wanted to add another one, I'd grab all of this stuff, and then I'd grab this as well, and I'd duplicate it, and then I'd have to plug everything in. Then I'd have to plug all this in, and then I'd have to set this to, what, 8. And then I'd have to make another one of these, and then call it, let me pop open the node. I call it the he, who. Then I'd set it to 8, probably move it down. And then I just edit the colors, and then I can just make it he, who. Speed this up. All right, we're back. We just select he, who, and we plug all these in here. There is a really loud car outside. I don't know if you could hear that. We just plug it all in here, and this is the new he, who color palette. You know what? I might just leave it in for the lulz. I don't know. That could be funny, I guess. But yeah, that's how the color palettes work. And that is just the whole thing. That's how the whole add-on works. Yeah, there's nothing else to go over. It's not very technical at all. Even a dumb person can make it. Yeah, so now I can just go into like, why did I do this? Why? So I've had this idea brewing for a good bit, just having like a filter that is essentially just a shader on top of like something in Blender, in the shader editor or the Compositor. I was even thinking about using geonodes for the like shader one, because it could have helped. It almost definitely would have helped. I've never used geonodes before. So yeah, but then I saw this video that you put it on screen right now, which was just a guy who ran the Rabbids Invasion intro through the current ways to make a DitherNote, a Flipnote looking image. So I was like, how do you actually do this? So I looked into it, and you're apparently meant to take a very specific formatted video and download a program, which is like a bat file, I think, or something. I don't remember. Then put the video in there, which converts it into the Flipnote format, which then you could put into the 3DS, Flipnote 3D, I think, and then you could just have that there. Or you could take it to this other website, which you're meant to use to take your flip notes that you've made and upload them online and convert them to a video. And then you do that, and then you download the converted video, and there you go. There's your flip note. But I was like, I wonder if I could do this sort of thing. Number one, recreate Flipnote's style, recreate Flipnote's whole thing with the dithering and the 3 colors and all that, but also make it easier to use for people who know how to use Blender or any other sort of, Blender. What am I talking about? It's not on any other program yet for now. So then I made this that you're seeing on screen right now. This is the prototype of what I made. It was 2 colors. For a lot of these prototypes, I used the Mega Man meme because I thought it was funny. And it was also, what day? January 7th. Wait, I gotta check.
Drop yet, bro.
Don't worry, Mega Man drops January 7th. Listen, I was never book smart, I'm money smart. From that, if you could tell, I had the audio quality down for it, which I put the link to the website in the file and in the video description, which you can go down and click. And then you can convert it yourself to a bitcrushed version, which is really weird because I'll show another video here of the same thing. I ran it in Blender with the quality all the way down and it sounded perfect. It was the perfect bitcrush sound. I couldn't export it because every time I exported it, it sounded like that. It sounded muddy and awful. So yeah, that's why that looks like that. I don't know if I already showed it on screen. Show the node setup. It's kind of it's scary. So then I felt like I might have just dropped it, but then I kept going. I kept going and I kept working on it. And then a week or 2 later, it was basically done. Actually, I don't think I had the alpha by that point, but yeah, I call it version 2. It was basically done at that point. So then I just kept adding just little bits and pieces. I was talking to friends about it, and then some of them just went, Nathan, just fucking finish it already. Jesus. I found it so funny, so I just kept going. I added the ability to use 2 to 4 colors, because then I realized, oh, I could make it Flipnote, but then I could also make it monochrome, but then I could also make it Game Boy or Virtual Boy, which Virtual Boy would be the 2 colors anyway, or like all the different the Game Boy Pocket, Super Game Boy, all of those 40 palettes. No, there's 32 palettes. What am I talking about? Yeah, so I added extra colors. Then I was like, I could release it now, or I could make a Compositor version. So I made a Compositor version, which took a good bit to port it all to the Compositor. But once I did it, it's good. It's better than the shader version. So yeah, I learned how to mask stuff 2 days ago. Pop it on screen again. I already showed you this, but you can do stuff like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and then I added alpha. I think I already said that. Then I was like, fuck, I should have added dithered alpha. So I added dithered alpha, which I forgot to unset here. But so by that point, I basically finished it. Then I realized I needed to actually make stuff for it, like logos and key art and stuff, and then set up itch.io and Gumroad. And Gumroad's had me locked out of my account for like 2 or 3 years. Fuck Gumroad, bro. Every time I tried to get support, it would always boot me to an AI. I mean, like, beep, 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 boop, 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 you cannot access your account. Or in fact, actually one time I asked them for help and they said, it looks like you're having problems getting into your account. If you can go into your account and click on the button that we've set up in there, you can get into your account. I was like, well, what the hell is this? I was debating just not doing Gumroad. But finally, someone saw my pleas and unlocked the account. So we good. We Gucci. So yeah, I made the key art. I made that stuff. I set up all this. I almost made it a proper extension or like Addon, like in like the Blender extensions. I almost did that, but then I realized it doesn't really work for the shader version. It's always that damn shader version coming back to bite me in the ass. But Discord, shut up, please. I don't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying? Kia, itch.io, Gumroad hates me. I finally set them up. Then I was working on this video. I was working on the script for the tutorial, which I didn't even end up following properly. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry you had to sit through that. And this bit. And then my friends were doing a game jam and I asked if I could join them and they were like,
Okay, Nathan, I'll give you a shot. You come to me today on the day of my game jam.
so we did the game jam and honestly, I can just show some stuff on screen right now. It was kind of fun. It was 2 days long. We didn't even get the game to work in the end, but it looks kind of cool. I did a thing with the grates where it's just layered images on top of each other and it makes it look like it's got depth, which is kind of cool. And then we finished that and now I am doing this. I'm doing this right here and I'm recording into the microphone and just yapping and this is going on forever. OBS, how long have Jarvis, how long have we been going? 49 minutes and 13 seconds. Let me take a screenshot of that just for the video. Put it up on screen. Not like that, but that works too. Yeah. So that's basically all. That's essentially all the behind the scenes of this. So what now? I'm going to release this. I still haven't made the trailer. I still don't know what I'm doing for the trailer. It's probably going to be not very spectacular. Before this, I was working on, so I learned how to make 3DS games, using the Love Potion framework. I'm probably going to post something about it at some point. I like recreated like an old Scratch game that I made almost 10 years ago now in it to like test it. And you can actually get that on itch.io. So you can find that. It's bad. I've been working on another one, which after this, I'm going to try and finish. After that, I'm gonna try and work on 3D stuff. I'm gonna try and make models and environments and stuff, characters, all that jazz. But I also had a thought. I might try and port this. I might try and port DitherNote to Instagram and or Snapchat as like a filter that you can use. If I've done it, I'll either have made a video or I'll put it in the description or I'll put it in the pinned comment or something. That's something I think would be really cool. That's it. That's what I'm thinking. That's my...
Well, welcome to my mind palace. It's full of random shit.
I don't have much else to say. I think you should play Unbeatable, the video game. It's very, very, very good. I think you should play Windswept, the video game. It is very, very, very good. I think you should play Terraria for the Nintendo 3DS. It is very, very, very good for some reason. I don't know why. It just is. I'm just yapping now. I'm sorry for yapping. I don't know how good this video is going to turn out. I've been trying to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve, but I haven't actually made anything long in it yet. So I gotta learn. I gotta really get into that because I ain't using Premiere anymore. I ain't using Photoshop or Illustrator. I love you, Illustrator. I'm sorry. Illustrator, my beloved. I'm not even really good at Illustrator. I just like Illustrator. Gotta learn DaVinci. What if I just like edit this in Blender? Wouldn't that be funny if I just edited this dumbass video inside of Blender? Blender has a video editor. If you didn't know, Blender has a video editor. If I go here and I go here, video editing, look at this. It's just a video editor. It's kind of funny. Why is it doxing all my documents? What are these documents? Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to find an image. Look, it's literally a video. Oh my fucking God, that is so loud. Goodbye.